Boys, welcome to the Final Cut Podcast. Today, me and Jeremy are going to be discussing the new Hulu exclusive movie, Prey.
Yes, and this is the first Predator movie that you and me have ever watched. I first heard it about in trailers. It looked cool. Found out it was a Prey movie. I was like, yeah, let's watch this. And I think it was a great movie to talk about, especially because last time we talked about Batman. This is something very different. It's a thriller movie. So it's new genre, right? New kind of movie. I'm down. Let's go.
I'm chewing a cupcake right now.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you got a cupcake, I got a cookie, so we're set, dude.
yeah, man. So, I went into this movie completely blind because you texted me, right?
hmm
You texted me because we had no idea what movie we were going to do for the podcast this week. And he goes, hey, there's this new movie called Prey that's coming out on Hulu. We should do that. And I was like, great. And I didn't watch any trailers. I didn't read anything about it. And I went in so blind, I didn't even know this was a Predator movie until I was watching it. And I was like, oh, this is
What?
where we're going.
You're
I knew the
serious?
title, and I was like, let's go. So that's
Wow.
yeah. It
I
was
never
quite the adventure.
I never told you.
No,
I really
you
I
don't
could have
tell me
sworn I told
anything.
you. I could have sworn I told you. I've told like everybody that I've talked to this movie about, I've told them what it's about. Except you, the one person that I should have told.
I liked going in blind though.
I mean, yeah, that must have been fun. I bet.
I think it made my experience better than it would have been if I knew what was going to be going on
Oh,
in this movie.
solid. Whatever it takes to make Mayo's opinion slightly more positive than it can be.
Slightly.
Yes.
Emphasis on the slightly.
Yeah, you can't really go more than slightly. It's impressive if you can even do slightly when it comes to Mayo.
You know me.
Yeah. All right, so let's hop right on in. We start the movie, a short little hunting scene, and then we see this character who they don't tell us the name of the character, right? Uh, but don't worry, I wrote the names down, so we're gonna know the names of the characters the whole
Good.
time.
Because I don't know.
Because did you have an issue with getting the character names too throughout the
Yeah.
movie?
They don't say
I don't.
them very much.
Yeah, I think they don't say very much either. I don't know, but for some reason I could not get any of the characters' names. To be fair, only like 3 or 4 characters have names, but
That's fair.
I could not get it for the life of me. So, but the girl's name is Naru, and the she's the main character, and then her brother is his name is Tabe. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we start with the movie hunting scene with Naru and her dog, which is adorable. Um,
The dog is really
we
cute.
I know, and then right, one of the first things that happens in the movie, we're not even 5 minutes in, and you hear him yelp off
Oh,
screen. There's a bear trap, and then thank goodness it's just his tail. I was so worried. Like again, not even 5 minutes in the movie, and I was already incredibly invested in this creature of which has less than 1 minute of screen time so far.
well, it's because it's a dog, man.
Yeah, I know, but it's so cute. Oh man, I was so worried about that dog's safety and well-being.
Yeah, I liked the dog.
The dog, the best thing about this movie. Honestly,
It's
we
true.
need a we need a spin-off series of this dog,
It wouldn't turn out well.
I don't care.
It never turns out well.
Yeah, but I still don't care. I like doggo. I'll just I'll
Me
just
like.
I'll watch the show, I'll mute it, and I'll just have it running on my a separate monitor. So every now I can just look and be like, "Ha, cute dog,"
Ha.
and then go on with my
Makes
life.
it here screensaver.
That's a
With
good
posters of it
idea.
everywhere.
Yeah. So and first 5 minutes of the movie, and we find out some good things about Naru, that she wants to be a hunter. She
Was it
knows
good?
medicine, and she's
Okay.
curious. So we already know a couple things about her, and we're only 5 minutes in. So far, pretty good.
That's called good writing. Don't get
Yeah.
used to that.
And oh, I already sense the bad rating. Oh, let's can't wait to find out what this movie's
well,
gonna get.
well, again, I got some things to say.
All right. Well, I actually like the scene that happens when she looks in the sky and she sees this ship fly by with red lightning,
Oh yeah,
and she thinks it's the
the
Thunderbird,
Thunderbird.
right?
Hmm.
And I like that little touch, just how they wouldn't understand at all what a spaceship is or any flying object, right? So they think it's the Thunderbird. And also,
God.
when seeing that and a couple other things in the movie, you get the feeling that they really understood and they really did the research on the mythology and culture of Native Americans.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, I'm not really the guy to fact check that, but it felt like they did.
Yeah, yeah, same here, you know.
There wasn't
But
any like
yeah,
dumb problems with it.
Yeah, yeah. They were able to deceive an uneducated fool such as myself.
Ah,
So
yes.
they got it that way. I bet there's some guy that knows every single thing about Native Americans, and he watched this movie and he was losing his mind,
But more
smashing his
power
head
to
on
him.
the yeah, smashing his head on the table, screaming at the TV. Yeah.
Ah.
um. So yeah, it was good. And then we move on. And here's something that I wasn't hugely fond of. I kind of want to hear your opinion on it. So I don't like the fact that her main motive for being a hunter was just because no one thought she could.
What do you mean? I liked that.
You like
That was
that?
good. That was good.
H- when in real life have you run into somebody, and how often do you do, or their like main passion in their life is motivated by the fact that no one thinks that they can do it?
I didn't say it was like a super common thing that everybody does, but I said it was
I
a.
don't
I
know.
liked the motivation. It was a good motivation.
Oh, okay, that's
It
fair.
was.
But
It was a
I
good
still don't like
motivation
it.
for what I wish the movie had been. For what the
Oh,
movie
really?
is, I don't like it as much. But
Oh,
if because I don't pay it off,
oh.
which is a theme in this movie, things don't get paid off very much. But I liked the idea of it. I didn't like the execution, but I liked where it was going at this moment.
Hmm. All right. Yeah, I just didn't. just
Oh.
I just didn't. I'm like, I want a deeper motive, and that motive just seems stupid to me. But you know, eh, that's just my first negative. That's me being kind of a negative Nancy. Trying to be a little judgmental, trying to find flaws.
well,
That's just.
what do you wish the motive had been?
I mean, I don't have one in mind, but just not that.
Hmm.
like, I haven't been thinking about this movie. I haven't been dreaming about it. You know, but I really wish it was something.
Dreaming about it?
I'd like it if it were something a little deeper. Um, or at least if they talked about it
I think
more.
that's plenty deep. Cause because
I
she wants to be a hunter, but she's not been very good at it. And everyone knows she's not very good at it, but she still wants to be a hunter. And so now
I'd
it's
like
now
it.
it's about like
No,
she wants to prove everyone wrong, and it kind of makes the idea of being a hunter even more intriguing as you get to be a hunter and you get to prove everyone wrong too.
now I can get that, but they never showed that. They never showed
Well,
that
yeah, that's
she
what I
had a
said.
natural passion for it before. It's just, oh yeah, once somebody looked at me and said, "You could never be a hunter," then I was like,
Well, that's what I said. The execution was not good, but the idea was.
"Oh, okay." So I can agree with that. Yes. If we're going on that, yeah. I feel like they should have made it a point to show that she just wanted it before people told her she couldn't. That I'm down with.
Well, no, they did show her trying to hunt the deer, like at the opening shot. She was trying to hunt that deer, and she failed.
But they made it very clear that everyone thought she couldn't do it way before the movie even starts.
No, that was the opening of the movie, was when she was hunting the deer.
Yeah, yeah, and then she came home and her mom was like, "Why are you always trying to hunt?" I'm like, "This is the first conversation she had with the mom, so clearly this has been an ongoing thing, you know."
I think it's implied enough that she just wants to be a hunter before this conversation.
I don't think it is enough, but
You're
I guess
tripping,
it's
man.
not. It's. I do think it's not as bad as I initially did, but
You're
still think it could have
tripping.
been better. It still could have been better.
It's good. The
So,
execution's trash, though. But we'll get into
so
that later.
you need to stop interrupting me and let me proceed.
No! No! This movie's not good. And I
You
need
want to
to
go based
express
off of
why.
your notes? Do you want to go based off of your notes?
If we want to have a 5-minute episode.
Then let's do it. No, I'm teasing. So then the Indians go to find a lion because lion kidnaps somebody.
It kidnap. No, I don't think that. Actually, yeah, that definitely happened.
It did. It literally did kidnap somebody. It wasn't like I'm gonna eat it right here. No, he was like, I'm gonna grab this guy and run away. And then I'm gonna try to eat him somewhere else. And it's like, what? I'm pretty sure that's not how mountain lions hunt, but
That is not
you
what
know,
happened.
I'm not an expert.
Is that
I
actually. No, no, no. It, like, injured some dude and then they went out to hunt it.
No, they literally said they went to the camp and everyone was freaking out and they were like, "What happened?" And they were like, "A lion took Pooey." He said took. They didn't say that he was like out hunting and got attacked. No, they said a lion took Pooey. We're going to find him. And then apparently the lion supposedly got scared off from the predator, and then that's why the lion did not finish him off.
This did not happen in the movie.
Dude, I watched the movie twice. I literally watched it this the like before doing this recording, right?
I don't
My
remember
memory
this happen.
fresher
No,
than yours.
whatever,
It
man.
literally happened, dude. I don't know what you're talking about. It literally happened. All right, regardless. Anyways, that's not that big of a deal. But we see a quick scene of Predator killing a snake. You know, nothing big, but we're teasing him and we're building up to it.
I don't like.
Then
I guess. Look, the
what's up?
CGI on the Predator when he's invisible is terrible. It's fine everywhere else.
I Yeah, I did want to ask you about that because I know you're super picky about CGI. I'm not, and the CGI was fine for me, but you are very nitpicky about this. So you really hated it?
It looked so bad. It looked really bad. Maybe it's just because the invisible idea, but you can like still see its silhouette or something, is really dumb. It it automatically looks bad anyway. It just I don't know, man. It was not a good look. But like everything else in the movie was fine. But that's probably
Well,
why it
that was
looked so bad was because
um,
everything else was
like,
good, but this wasn't good, and I was like, ah, come on, man.
basically that's
But
basically the only CGI thing in the movie.
the bear, the wolf,
Like
the
the
predator,
animals and Predator is it basically
yeah,
for the
and they
most
all
part.
looked good,
Maybe the
unless the predator.
occasional arrow being
Well,
shot, I
yeah,
guess.
like the arrows and stuff, and like
Yeah.
But
All right.
and all that looked good, but the predator being invisible was not good. It was.
I
I
I
hated it.
actually agree with this. I actually agree with this statement. Something about it is just it just doesn't feel right. I feel like the Predator would be I don't feel like it matches with what the Predator is. The Predator wants this challenge, it wants a fight, you know. It wants the thrill of the hunt. And then it uses this tool to just make all the fights easy.
I disagree with that. I think like the character of the predator, you could say, would use this invisibility tool, but it's not entertaining to watch. Like I would have much rather have seen him be like super stealthy or just not care at all, just walks up to them completely visible. But
I can agree with
instead,
that.
I didn't like.
Yeah.
I don't. Both visually and conceptually, I don't like the invisibility stuff.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, yeah.
It
Definitely.
was not for me, man.
All right. Well, then we get the scene where they're trying to set up this trap for the lion. Naru's in a tree with another guy. Meanwhile, her brother Taba, is setting up the trap. And of course, just like in any thriller movie, the guy's insulting her, and then boom, he dies. The lion comes out of nowhere, kills him. Right? Classic thriller.
Mm-hmm.
But in this scene, I did initially kind of enjoy it. I thought the lion seemed a little scary. It was invisible at first, but then it came up. You could see it, blood all over it, and then she fell. We're fine until she hits a rock on the head. Now, some people see this and think nothing of it. I see this and
I
I
didn't
go,
think anything of it.
I say, what? Listen. I took a class once, and one of the chapters in the class
Mm-hmm.
was safety, and one of the like half that chapter was all about ladder safety. And one thing I learned from it is it said people who are 6 feet tall, if they just fell over and hit their head, there would be a very likely chance they would die.
6 feet. I gotta be more careful when I'm walking around.
Oh yeah, why is that? You're not 6 feet.
I'm literally 6'2", but okay.
I keep telling yourself that. All right,
I
but
I will. My little tape measure tells me that too. So
regardless, she's not 6 feet tall, and she's standing in a tree that I
yeah,
guarantee you is that branch is above 6 feet.
yeah, it's like an 8 or 9 at least.
Yeah, so that plus her height, we're like at 13 feet at this point, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then just icing on the cake. She doesn't land her head on dirt. She doesn't land her head on wood. She lands her head on a rock.
I
wakes up with a headache. Not even a concussion.
a headache. Yeah, you would for sure get a concussion at least from that.
Yeah, and that alone would be a miracle.
Yeah, I
Oh man.
I didn't notice that watching it, but what I did notice is she gets passed out and the mountain lion just decides that it's not going to eat her anymore. And it was really weird.
That's another good point. Yeah, I was too busy thinking about how she wouldn't survive the fall. It didn't even occur to me that the lion would kill her.
I know. I was like, really? Okay, whatever. Yeah, I didn't
Oh,
really like that scene. I know it's
I
fine.
suppose I suppose because earlier they mentioned that at one point the lion was scared off by the predator, that you could assume it happened again, but
I
they
doubt it.
didn't do anything to imply it. And as I say, if they didn't do anything to imply it, then it didn't happen and we can't assume it.
That's
Right?
fair.
Yeah, so bad,
Yeah,
bad, 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 bad. It just defies all laws of
yeah.
physics and logic.
Not the best move on their part.
No, not the best move. But anyways, brother Tabe comes back with the dead lion on his shoulders and holding its decapitated head, which looked pretty cool. Uh, but and this is one of my other big gripes from the movie
Yeah.
is we have this not a huge big, but gripe nonetheless. We have this scene where he gets promoted to war chief,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of being happy that he's alive, or proud that he got a promotion, or even faking it just a little bit, you know, she is just completely upset that she didn't kill the lion, that she didn't succeed, that she didn't find what this monster is that is definitely the predator. You
It
know?
would have been
I'm like,
so out of character if she did that, though.
but I mean, come on, at least fake it a little bit.
I know. No, I 100% disagree. 100%. I
It's so
think the
childish.
way they don't pay it off in any way. So maybe that's why you think it's terrible,
Maybe.
but it's in character for her cuz
Oh,
she wants to be Like really wants to be the hunter and prove everyone wrong and come back to the camp with some big beast's head or something.
Maybe I'm just not a huge fan of the character type.
Cuz it's like
You know,
it's the
the
jealousy that's coming in
yeah,
and the it's good. It's good. I don't care what you
and
think. You're
I
wrong.
think I think she can be jealous. I think she can be jealous, but I just feel like it was unnatural for her to be so vocal about it. You know,
I
and
disagree.
uh,
100%.
of
It
course
was
you
in
disagree.
character.
I honestly maybe I just not a fan of the character type of the, arrogant, selfish,
I
prideful
mean,
person who has a superiority complex.
I know that you aren't.
Exactly.
Yet you
Not
still
talking
hang out
about
with me.
not talking about
So
anyone specific. Anyways, moving on.
it was good.
So,
It was in character. You don't. You're wrong.
all right, we disagree once
We'll
again.
just
We probably
disagree to disagree.
That's funny. Uh, we probably disagreed more so far in this movie than we have the Batman, which kind of
Well, the
surprises me.
Batman was just kind of an unoffensive movie,
Yeah,
if that makes any sense. Like, there was really nothing to disagree on it. Everything that was good was like everyone thinks is good, and everything that's
uh,
bad is everyone thinks is bad. So,
for the most part, yeah.
no, everyone
Uh,
ever.
some people hated Robert Pattinson. I loved him, but let's stay on subject. If you haven't seen the Batman video, by the way, go check it out. That was our first one.
Says, let's stay on topic. Immediately after, shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Hey, uh,
The skills.
anyways,
The
um,
podcasting skills.
we're so professional, man. I mean, I'm in a tux, don't you know? Anyways, I don't know. So then we have this little scene where
Hmm?
it's short scene, nothing much to say about it, but it's just predator versus a wolf. We're moving up the food chain, right?
Oh, yeah.
Uh, yeah, just not much to say. But
Not much.
then we have this scene, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I liked it. It is Naru invents a weapon similar
Oh,
to a
yeah.
kusarigama. A
Hmm.
kusarigama, which is a Japanese weapon. It's essentially a small scythe that's connected to a chain, and then on the other end of that chain's a ball. And the idea is to
A
swing it and hit
wrecking
your enemy.
ball. It's the most edgy weapon ever created, I think.
It pretty much is. It's pretty cool. But I liked it that
It's the
she had the
edgelord
same thing
weapon.
except an axe instead.
I liked it too. They don't do anything with it, which is really frustrating. But, it's. That's the theme of this movie. They'll start things and then just not do anything with them. And it's kind of
They
frustrating to
definitely did
watch.
some things with this.
Not really.
Well, okay. In basically the very next scene, I think.
It's the only time they do something with it.
Yeah, the very next scene. Okay,
I
well.
say that in terms of like the climax, like she's fighting the predator.
Oh, but it's used in that scene a couple times.
You can't argue that she couldn't have done that without the rope attached to it.
Oh, so you're okay. I get it. It's saying that it's not very prominent.
No.
That I could agree with. We'll get there when we get there, but that is a good point.
Oh, we will.
Um, yeah, so we will. But anyways, we were going to talk about it, so let's talk about it. The quicksand or mud
It's
scene.
mud. It's mud. It's not quicksand.
I mean, it's yes, it's mud, but technically quicksand doesn't have to be sand. It can be mud.
It's still
Doesn't
mud though.
have to be sand. Yeah, it is still mud, but I'm saying quicksand to describe how it worked in the movie because it worked like quicksand in the movie.
It's mud.
Sure, Mayo. Sure, mud.
Thank you.
Whatever. This mud. Can I at least call it quick mud?
No. Quick mud. What? No, man. I would be much less offended if you called it quicksand.
All right. So no
Oh,
inventing new
this
terms.
quick mud. Everyone will know
Quick
what you're
one.
talking about then.
Dude, forgive me for trying to describe things better so that way the audience knows what we're talking about. Jeez.
It's not describing it
Anyways,
accurately though.
this scene was kind of good.
It's
You
not a
know,
scene. No,
it
I'm
wasn't.
kidding.
It's not a scene,
Yeah,
dude. It's a
it's
moment.
not a scene. It's a moment. It's
Yeah.
a chapter. No.
Oh,
It,
what? The whole chapter of just Naru in mud.
yeah.
Man, that is one heck of a chapter, dude.
Anyway, yeah, it's a good scene. I saw right through it. I knew exactly, like, oh, well, I know how this movie's gonna end now.
Oh yeah, it is a
Uh,
kind of a cliche to use. Can I say quicksand? You know, quicksand or something like quicksand in this manner. You know,
little
it's
bit, yeah.
cliche.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
cliche to use it
cliche.
that way.
They do the thing where they do something like in the beginning or in the middle of the movie and then bring it back in the climax, which is good writing.
Yeah, it
It
is
just
good.
is. It's a little on the nose though, so you see right through it. But it's
Yeah,
infinitely better than just deciding that during the climax there's going to be a pit of mud that the predator's going to get stuck in, because a lot of people do that in movies these days.
and
So
it's
it's like
terrible because
it's
every movie
good.
thinks that they have to surprise the audience. That's why
Oh,
every
it
movie has a
subverts
twist.
our expectations, which means it's
Yeah,
good. It's like
every movie
that.
has a twist
No,
villain nowadays,
yeah,
right? And none of them are good.
yeah. So it's I appreciate what they were trying to do. Could have been better though.
Yeah,
Could have been a
I
little
yeah.
less obvious, but I don't have any actual problems with it. Like I would
Right.
much rather have it in the movie than have it
Yep,
any other way. So,
yep. And I quickly just want to say a small note. I love the girl dog dynamic
oh,
because
it's easily the best part of the movie.
I know because not only is the dog cute, but the girl with the dog is cute. That duo is
Yeah,
yeah, they have a cute thing going on.
yeah. One of the best friend pairings of recent times. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow, yeah, wow. A top tier in your mind.
A S tier, A tier at least.
Oh
A
wow.
tier best friend dynamic. But yeah, it was
That
easily the best part of the movie.
carried the movie, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, moving on. I thought we'd mention it because pretty soon the dog's going to be outside of the movie for a while. We get to the bear
Oh
versus
yeah.
Naru scene, which quickly turns into bear versus predator scene. And at this point, the dog has run away and disappeared. Uh,
He
but
just
I
moped
like,
out of there.
yeah, I know, right? He was pretty smart, not gonna lie. But
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
but anyways, I like this scene because we could really see how helpless Naru is against the bear. Right? She tries, but I mean, you can't kill a bear with a bow, especially a bow that's so primitive, you know. And and I love it when she runs to the dam, she's hiding, and then boom, the predator's there. Now the predator's wrestling
Boom.
this bear. I thought that was so cool.
I
And
think
it
the bear should have died sooner than he did, because
really
the fight scene, it's like 2 minutes long or something, maybe a little shorter than that.
you over
But
exaggerate everything, dude.
I literally said maybe a little shorter than that. But I mean, I feel like it would have been much more effective if like the bear was almost about to kill her, and then the predator comes in, right? And in like 10 seconds, the bear's like completely destroyed. Because it would have been like it was like a huge, like this bear was like a huge big deal that was just completely unstoppable, and then the predator came in and basically like it was nothing. It's kind of a
Yeah.
nitpicky sort of thing. I don't really think that it's the movie's better or worse with it. It's just kind of I wish that it just kind of absolutely wrecked it without a second thought.
Yeah. Well, I honestly think that the Predator kind of, to me at least, the scene looks like the Predator plays with his food kind of deal. Like he's kind of like just testing the fight, seeing what it can do. And then at the end, when he's like, "Yeah, this isn't much of a challenge," I noticed at the end it was so cool. The bear charges at him. He gets up and he punches it so hard in the head that its neck straight up just snaps.
Well, Pog.
Legit, like you didn't notice that? It was like
No.
what an alpha male move. And by the way, I actually watched it just now. The scene is about 50 seconds long, roughly.
Oh.
So you were closer to your second estimate than you were your first. But yeah, as I thought it was cool. But you know what? I think you make a good point. I can't say which one I would like better, but I will say I would have liked to see an alternate scene to compare. Right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of I wish that it was a little short of a fight scene
Mm-hmm. All
because
right.
it just would have sent more of a message. The
Right.
shorter,
Yeah.
the more powerful he seems.
Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. And
Well, then we actually have a kind of a plot hole here at this point.
oh,
And yeah, the plot hole is he lifts up the bear and blood is spilling all over it. She just takes this moment to run away. And then we see his night vision mode in which he can see her glowing yellow and red and everything else like the river is blue. She's running away. He just poured warm blood all over his mask. His
oh
whole screen should be
yeah,
his entire
just
screen should be red
all
and yellow,
yeah.
but it's not.
That's right. Maybe he grabbed a tissue and wiped his face off or something.
Yeah, but just like we say, if they don't imply it, then it didn't happen, and we can't assume it.
I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty obvious thing to do. I think we can assume that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because
Gets a little gets a
I always keep
handkerchief.
I always keep a handkerchief on me,
His
and I
love
always keep
interest
some.
comes in and gives him a handkerchief. Here you go.
Mrs. Predator,
You need it
right?
more than I do. Ah, cool.
Thanks, honey.
Pray the director's cut extended version. You know it's gonna
Extended.
be in it. You know it is.
Yes, yes. And this way, finally, the Predator will have good character development.
Exactly. Finally,
That's
some
that's
motivation.
that's what people want for the Predator.
I know. When
Want to
people
see him
watch The
with
Predator, they
love
want to watch.
and family.
I know exactly. That's what sells a Predator movie.
Yep, family.
The power of love.
Yeah. So, it was just a bit of a
Yeah,
plot
that's
hole.
true.
And then the
Yeah.
next it's a little bit of a plot hole, but the next plot hole comes up, and I actually think it's a little bit of a bigger plot hole because as we figure out
Oh,
through the
I don't know,
movie,
man. That was a pretty big plot hole.
as we know when watching this movie, and if anyone's watched the 1987 Predator movie, they know this too,
I haven't.
that the Predator will not attack things that he does not deem to be a threat, right? He won't attack prey, will you, right? In the
Oh,
Predator
that's the
1987
name of the
movie.
movie.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Wow.
In the 1987 movie, there's a group of U.S. soldiers in Guatemala trying to save some hostages. They fail, but they end up taking a Guatemalan woman captive because she has, I guess, important information. But anyways, the Predator is killing all of them, but in multiple times in the movie, he ignores her because it does not see her as a threat. Same thing here. It does not see Naru as a threat. But it's a little bit of a plot hole because we know for a fact in this scene we can see a little bit of a visual of the Predator's blur, so we know he's invisible watching. Where Naru approaches another member of her tribe called Wasapi, and
Wasabi.
yes,
Wasabi.
yes, Wasapi. It might as well be his name.
It
Legit,
should have been his name. I don't
all they did
care.
is flip the P.
I don't
the, you know.
care that it's not accurate to Native American culture. It should have been Wasabi.
Just for the meme. They never say his name, so honestly, it would have just been a meme.
Just for the
It would have.
memes.
It wouldn't have affected the movie's integrity whatsoever. I only know that name because I looked up the cast of the movie.
Uh,
Yeah, but anyways, Wasapi and his two friends, they're
Wasabi and the gang.
Yeah, they're like, we're come here to get you. Your brother sent us, and she's like, I gotta go find my brother. And they're like, no, you're going home. So then Wasabi and her fight, and she kicks his butt. I mean, yeah, he gets a
No,
couple
she
punches in.
doesn't.
No, she does way better than he does, because what happens is she makes him bleed by biting him. She punches him hard enough, the face is bleeding out of his mouth, and then he says, "Fine, you want to go, go." And then she starts to walk away, but then his other friend, just punches her in the face. So like, yes, she didn't win the fight, but they kind of cheated. It was a 2 versus 1
Yeah,
scenario.
she still
If
lost
it
it
was,
though.
but still, the predator saw that she was clearly some degree of a threat.
She still lost the fight though. And then she's tied up when the predator comes.
That is true. When he really shows up,
Yeah, I
then I guess
disagree.
she is set
That's
up.
not a plot
Oh,
hole.
all right. Well, I think I still think it's a little bit of a plot hole, but maybe I'll agree that it's not as big as I initially
It's
thought.
not big at all. Because it's like she wins the fight. No, she doesn't win the fight. And then she gets tied up. And then the predator comes. And she's like behind the log the whole time. Like the predator probably doesn't even see her.
Mm,
So, you know,
I guess prey does sometimes fight back, right? You
what?
know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like a predator fights the prey. Sometimes the prey will struggle, but
She doesn't
ultimately
fight
lose.
back though. She loses a
She
fight
does.
and then stays tied up for like
She
the whole attack.
tried. She tried. She
Oh my
punched that guy
gosh.
in the
But the
face a couple of times.
motivations is he wants to kill the like fiercest animal or something on earth. So he's not gonna. He just saw her lose to these people, so it's like, oh well, I just killed these people, so I don't have to kill her because I know I just win.
Hmm. Fair enough. Fair enough, actually. All right. Well, moving on. Then we got the Wasabi Gang versus the Predator,
Wasabi.
which I don't know if you can even call it a versus. That was a massacre, right?
They were able to do
Uh,
some damage, but it was still pretty much a massacre.
yeah. And then I actually another thing I want to say is I really like how this movie takes place in 1700s,
Yeah,
and the first Predator movie took place in 1987. So it's at least 200 years apart, right? And so obviously Predator might look different, and he does. He has
does he?
his tech and design is slightly, it's like more primitive compared to the 1987 version. I like that.
I wouldn't know.
You know? I mean, yeah, you wouldn't know, you didn't see the other movie, but
So I'll take your
he
word
has a
for it.
more, it'll take my word for it. His tech and his design is more primitive, and that's
Oh,
nice.
that's
I think that's
interesting.
pretty nice.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
definitely a good touch.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Um,
just do a little copy and paste, and boom, you're done.
yeah.
Could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been worse. Yeah, they didn't, they weren't lazy with it.
Just
That's for
green
sure.
screens it from the old movie.
Oh no. No, they actually had a legitimate actor in a suit. So, we have that scene, right? He
Hmm.
kills them all. She runs away, finds another guy, he tries to shoot him with an arrow. Predator kills that guy. She runs away again. She gets trapped in a bear trap. Then we have the
Bang.
friend, right? And here, I'll be real with you. When I am watching a movie, usually I hate it when they don't speak English and I have to read the subtitles. But this was not the case, because that was not the intent, and it was very
No.
clear because you couldn't even read the subtitles. The subtitles were in French, and also it immerses you in Naru's perspective to hear them speaking French and not know what they're saying.
Oh yeah, it was
Right?
definitely good.
Yeah.
Like,
It immerses you in their perspective, and in some ways, it made them more creepy. You know,
oh,
it was like,
it was the only reason they were. Not,
yeah, it
not
was
something
like,
like that.
what in the
the,
world were they saying?
yeah, it was definitely a nice touch. It's a little bit weird how
Yep.
they speak French, um, and the Native Americans speak English. You know,
Mm,
like, you know, because That's just weird, but
Can you
it's also
speak the
nitpicky.
native? Can you
So
speak that American native language? I think it was Comanche or something. Can you speak of that?
no, I can't speak it, but what I'm saying is, so English and French both originated from Latin. So
Yeah.
it's just weird that I don't know. It's
I
weird.
mean,
It's also nitpicky though, so it doesn't
yeah.
matter that much.
Well, obviously, you're gonna have to understand them somehow,
Well,
right?
they should have they should have just made it be a bunch of gibberish. If I'm being honest,
Are you serious?
yeah,
That,
because that's what she would see it as, just a bunch of gibberish.
what Naru would see it as?
Yeah,
Well, what the French say is gibberish. Oh, you're saying,
yeah. The
oh,
French should have
instead of
just
them
been
speaking,
gibberish. Because if they're gonna make the Native
oh,
Americans speak English, then it's like, okay, well, we can't really have anyone else speak any languages because we're kind of
oh, I
substituting
get
things
what you're
here.
saying.
So the
Yeah,
French should have just been a bunch of gibberish.
well, yeah, and this would actually work because there are some people that know French, you know,
Yeah,
so it would ruin the immersion for them. Yeah, it'd be neat to be like, oh yeah, I know what they're saying, ha ha ha, right? Ooh, it's a little hidden thing in the movie, right? But I do agree with you. Yeah, that does kind of ruin the immersion for people like that do speak French, or the immersion because you're right, they both originate from Latin. So, for instance, there's a couple of times where he was saying something, and I'm like, don't know what you said, but I'm pretty sure I know what you said,
yeah, yeah,
So that is true. That is actually very true. That's a good point.
yeah. And I think
Yeah.
should have been gibberish, man.
hmm
Because it's
hmm
like, but it's also like I don't really care that much.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that never occurred to me. That's a good way to look at it. Definitely.
mhm. But
But
yeah. Anyway,
so we got this the next time the next scene we have is now she's captured, right?
hmm
They're trying to get info out of her, then they decide, you know what? We're gonna get her and Tabe, because apparently they also captured Tabe and her dog, but they use her and Tabe as bait for the predator. And I love this line. If it bleeds, we can kill it. It's a good line. Uh, then we get the Predator versus the French, which again is kind of a massacre.
yeah,
Right? Oh, that was funny though. That like this was the funny scene, funny fight scene in the movie. There's one scene where three French guys all shoot their rifles at him and just bounces off his armor, and then they all look at him. They go, oh, "We need to reload."
that was
When
kind of a little funny.
reloading will take like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
I
got a
loved
little
that.
chuckle from me.
It did. It got a little trouble from me too. Right? That was very funny. Very
Mm,
funny. So
yeah,
I just like,
it was very. I don't
man,
know
this movie liked whoever made this movie. They like Native Americans. They do not like the French. They made so much fun of them.
who actually likes the French. I'm pretty
Uh,
sure even a lot of the French don't like the French.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, I was like, yeah, do even the French like themselves?
Yeah, I liked I don't know, and just like the massacre of everyone in all the different ways everyone died, which is
Yeah,
that's very.
the
I
setting was
enjoy
cool
that. I
too.
enjoy that stuff.
Right, the setting of that burnt forest was
It
cool
was
too.
cool. It didn't make any sense, but it was cool.
Eh, I guess
I was like,
kind of came out of
maybe
left
is
field.
this like a they burnt it down or something? But it's like
Forest
what
fire.
happened here?
It could have been a forest fire. You know.
I I liked it visually. It didn't make any sense though.
It just kind of came out of
Yeah,
nowhere. Well,
yeah,
it does make sense that there could be a part of the forest that had a forest fire, but it's not a common thing,
but it's still
especially
like
back then.
smoky and foggy and stuff.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it
It
did
was
kind of come out of
cool,
nowhere.
but don't think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
Don't think
shut
about it.
up and
Yeah,
enjoy it, or else you'll ruin the experience.
yeah, yep.
So
But then we get Naro uses that bear trap to escape, which I liked. The whole it kind of felt
it
a
was
little weird.
dumb that she was talking about like the beaver had to cut its arm or its leg off or something,
And
and
I
then
was
she
like,
didn't, and then she was like, "But I'm smarter than a beaver." I was like, "Come on, man!" Like,
well, as you would say, it fits her character because she's prideful and stuff, and like
no, but
loves
it's
talking
not
about how great
prideful.
she is.
So it's dumb because you give us a promise and then you don't fulfill it, and what you give us is actually
That
much
that I agree.
worse than what it
That
would
I
have been.
agree.
So
Yeah,
it's
that
like
I agree.
it's like it's
It did
like
was weird,
why? Well, no,
but
it's also out
also
of character because she is a absolute no nonsense character. She's not gonna prank someone like this.
prank somebody like
It's
this.
like, ha,
Yeah,
you thought though.
you thought though,
It was
but but
dumb.
but let's be real. None of us thought though, because we're like, I can clearly see the rock in your hand. I know what you're gonna do.
Yeah, it's still dumb though.
Right? Yeah, it was a little dumb. It was a little dumb. Like I could see where they were going with it. In a way, it was kind of nice, but it was also like, yeah, this is dumb. It's
No,
just overall dumb. But yeah, we had that scene when
not
she
good.
escaped the bear trap. Yeah, and then we get a scene with Naru versus the French. I'll admit this
I
kind of comes out of left field. She kicked their butts.
I like this scene. I don't
Really?
like how literally like a few hours later or whatever, she didn't win against the like three Native American guys.
Yeah.
And then she just completely destroys like an army of French that has like guns and stuff. It's a
Well,
little
and they
dumb,
had, yeah, they had
but
knives for the most part. But yeah,
still. But I'm a huge sucker for this. They did it in like a 4 minute long shot. And
you're
I
right, they did.
love long shots so much, especially fight scenes, because it's like you know the amount of choreography and like training and rehearsals that have to go into that.
Yeah.
I'm a huge sucker for long shots.
Yeah,
I
that's something.
like just make a
That's
whole movie just one long shot, and I would watch it. That would actually be really cool. That'd be, you know how hard that would be to make.
I think there was a TV show that
There's a TV show on Netflix where like a whole episode is like a long
yeah,
shot. I forget what it's called.
yeah, they had an episode that was just a one whole long shot there,
Yeah.
and it was like an hour long almost. I think it was almost an hour long, and
Oh,
I think it broke a world Guinness record.
it has to an
Um,
hour long shot.
yeah,
I love
yeah,
long
but
shots.
they
Give
are
me a long
cool.
shot, and I'm gonna ignore all the flaws and just be like, yes, this was one of the best scenes in the movie. So
Yeah,
even though it
that
didn't
was
make any
good.
sense, I loved it. Don't remove it.
Yeah.
I want my long shot.
And that's something we liked about the Batman is there were a lot of long shots with the fight scenes. A lot of modern day fight scenes are like short clip, short clip, short clip, short clip, you know?
Yeah.
And the fight scenes of the Batman were much longer. Even though they weren't a minute long, they were much longer altogether. And it was nice.
But yeah, give me long shots. I
Mhm.
want more long shots in movies.
More long
Thank
shots.
you.
Yeah. That was nice. I do think it like came out of nowhere because it was
Yeah,
like,
and it came out of nowhere and it was dumb that she was able to
yeah,
kill all these people now. But I don't care because there was a long shot.
it was a long shot. Yep.
You could say it's a long shot that she was able to kill these guys.
I
Guys,
thought about making
literally, why am I so funny?
I thought about making that pun, but then I wised up.
You didn't have the guts.
Yeah, I'm just not a dad.
I am.
Okay,
That
moving on.
was
But
really.
then she gets to learn how to use a gun by that guy who needs medical help,
Yeah.
right? So she learns how to use a gun. It's like, oh, is she gonna use a gun to beat the predator, right?
No.
Um, you know, we'll get there in a moment. Essentially, he teaches her. Then the predator shows up, and this is where we find out that the orange flower makes you invisible to the predator. Which is it's a nice touch because at the beginning they told us that it made you cold, and throughout the entire movie they've made it very clear that the predator can see heat. So that was a nice touch that they did that,
I don't think
and
that's
the
how it works, though.
okay, yeah, it
Like,
doesn't make
like
sense
it doesn't make sense. But yeah, they
because
did foreshadow it and stuff.
could
So
it
I
could
appreciate that.
yeah could a
But
medical thing make you cold? Yes. Could it make you so cold that you wouldn't have any
you are
heat
just
on a heat sensor?
you are
No.
just completely invisible on the thermal
Yeah.
recognition. No.
No.
If you weren't, you would be dead.
Mm-hmm. So there is
But
yeah,
I
you're right.
mean,
That is a
they at
problem.
least did like foreshadow it, and it wasn't like it was dumb, but it's like in this I didn't hate it.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was dumb,
I
but it was
mean,
okay.
it made well. It was also kind of dumb in the 1987 movie. The one of the characters, wasn't the only thing he used. By the way, the main character in the movie was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just to let you know.
I think I knew that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, he used mud. He covered himself in mud to make him invisible. Which same problem here. Yes, your heat level would go down, but it wouldn't make you invisible,
Like he covered,
right?
like he buried himself in like a big pile of mud, or like he just rubbed
The
mud like on his face.
the first time it wasn't a whole lot of mud and was like, it could have been more, but then he figured it out and then he put more mud on him when he did the final fight scene. And there was actually quite a lot of mud on him
I
at the
don't
beginning,
think that's how it works.
right? Um, I know, right? So even though it was like, yeah, that would work to a degree, definitely mud would cool you down,
But it wouldn't
but
actually work though. You'd still be
not
totally,
not
completely visible.
yeah, not to the degree that they thought it would. Not at all to the degree. So yep. Maybe you have to use both strategies together. The mud and this fictional orange flower does
It
not
still wouldn't
exist
work.
in the real world.
It still wouldn't
How does
work.
the how to survive the predator if he's real? Thank goodness he's not, because you would die.
Exactly.
Right? Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
So moving on. So then she I like it because she does the whole thing with the gun and then it doesn't work. Right? It's like she missed a step.
yeah,
Which was good though, because if she shot it, she'd be dead.
she would. She probably would have
Yeah,
died.
she
Yeah.
would be dead. Yeah, and we actually have that scene where Naru and Taba kind of work together. It's all Taba because she didn't do anything. Fight the predator, right? And then Taba dies,
hmm
right?
I was not sad at all about that.
Oh really? I mean,
Because he was just an absolute jerk to Nara at the beginning, and then they didn't resolve it. So the whole time I'm thinking, like
they did.
I kind of
They
wanted that.
resolved it. They resolved it, just not in
They
a
did
more
not
pleasing
resolve
way.
that.
Yeah, when they were tied up and as bait for the predator, he admitted that she was helpful in killing the lion and that she has a skill for noticing things that he doesn't.
Oh yeah, that did happen.
So they did resolve it. It's just it could have been done better,
It should have been done better. It wasn't good.
right?
I did not care for. I didn't care for any of the characters in this movie, but
I think
him
the
I especially
cops.
didn't care for. I cared about
I
the
just
dog, and I cared
I
about the
just
girl because the dog would have been sad if she died. But that's pretty much it.
I care about Toby to a degree, but I think part of his flaw is there's just not a lot of him, you know. uh, and his dynamic with his sister wasn't done as well.
No.
And if those things were fixed, it could have been better.
Yeah. I didn't.
Right.
The death scene was very hollow.
It was pretty hollow. Yeah. But anyways, so also I just want to mention, I think it's funny. Predator uses aim assist.
I know. Freaking console player.
Right? I know. Like, come on, dude. Get good.
I know.
All right.
Cringe.
So,
PC Master Race.
right, you know. But anyways, so now we have the final fight scene. We're finally to the end of the movie. She puts all the pieces together. You know, the first step she has actually to her plan is she gets that one French guy, right? And she uses him as bait because he initially is going to try to attack her. You remember the scene?
Yep.
And
It
then
was really dumb.
I want to hear what you
Because
say about that, but give me a moment. So essentially, the predator kills him, and while the predator isn't facing her because it didn't see her because she took the orange flower, she shoots the back of his head to get his helmet to fall off. Then she takes the helmet and runs away. And that's when the plan truly starts. But before we continue, what was dumb?
so she has a monologue.
Yeah,
Lot and in the same way that I didn't like the Batman end monologue. This monologue is really dumb because it does not trust the viewers to pick up on the themes of the movie at all. It
You
tells you
know,
straight up. She's like, it doesn't think I'm a threat, and that's what makes me dangerous. It's like we already
I
knew that.
am
Now you're just telling us what is supposed to be
right.
the subtext. And it's
Exactly.
it's really
Exactly.
frustrating because it's based. I
So,
hate it. It was
and
not good.
I'm not gonna spoil anything, but in the last video I told you that you need to watch The Dark Knight. Pay attention to what you just said when you watch The Dark Knight. Just to let you know. But anyways,
Okay.
moving on. All right, because
Not
we're
ominous at all.
no, I'm gonna miss it all. I don't want to spoil anything for you in that movie, but I do want you to watch a movie so we can do a which is better, The Dark Knight or The Batman. You know,
Uh
uh,
oh.
definitely for the future. But so back to this movie. So then after that, we have she sets up the whole scene, right? I think she sets up some spikes on some trees. She sets up the predator's mask in the specific spot, and then she goes to fighting him, right? It starts off pretty simple at the beginning, from what I remember, and
It
then
starts
and
off.
then it,
This is what I don't
sorry,
like. So it starts off and she's in the tree, and that's good. I'm like, because they do a whole bunch of callbacks to things that happened um, during the movie. Some are good, and some are not. And they do it. She starts off like waiting in the tree so it can jump on her, so she can jump on it actually,
Mhm. Yeah, that's the
which is
first
good.
move.
It didn't ever work in the movie before. Well, actually, that's not true because didn't the brother said that he used the same thing and it worked. So technically it did, but we never actually saw it work. But it's fine, it should have been if we saw it work like when she was hunting the mountain lion or at some other point, it would be definitely much better, I think.
They told us rather than showed
Yeah.
us. I get what you mean.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it's not inconsistent though. It's not like, well, this has never worked ever, so why does it work now? But then she uses the axe when she jumps on her,
Hmm.
but she doesn't use the axe's strings ever, I don't think. Which is why I was like, it's really
Well,
not,
yeah,
you
she
know,
stabs him a couple of times with the axe at first, and he throws her off. She
mm-hmm.
messed up because she should have aimed for the head,
Oh
right?
my
But anyways,
gosh. You really had.
anyways, yes, I had
I'm
to. So
disappointed yet not
he
surprised. And
she
that's
hit
not.
him with
That's
the
a
axe
good
a
movie.
couple of times. It is a good
Yeah.
movie. He tries throwing the spear at her. Dog bites him in the back, and he misses. Right, and then
Mm-hmm.
now she runs, and he chases her. She set up some spikes on a tree for him to run into. Scratches him up some more. Good, we're dealing some damage. Right.
Yeah.
You know, now she takes his spear that's sitting there. Although I always found this part weird because there's no way she could have planned that. Especially because she didn't
Mm-hmm.
seem
That's
like
what I
she
was
had
gonna
it
say.
planned. She didn't seem like she had it planned for the dog to save her. The expression on her face of fear about to being
Yeah.
killed didn't look like she had that planned out. So that's the weird part. But anyways, so he tries to get her. She moves out of the way. His fist is stuck in a tree, right? And then he uses the shield to block the staff, and then she like I think she pushes his arm in a certain way, and it causes him to cut off his own arm.
No, it's like the
So
shield isn't fully like up yet. It's like
that's what
half the
happened.
shield, and then she like moves the shield and then clips his
Yeah,
arm off, and like when
you're
she
right.
completes the
You're
shield.
right. Yeah, it collapses on his arm and cuts it off. Yeah,
Yeah.
which was that was some major damage, right? So
Yeah.
now we're really
No,
getting
those.
somewhere.
That was fun to watch.
Mhm.
And then what did she do? She like,
She tries to stab him with a spear, to which he deactivates it, right? And
oh
then she kind of just uses it as like a
yeah.
small stick to try to
Mm-hmm.
whack him, which doesn't work,
Pew pew
right?
pew. Yep.
And he's trying to hurt her with his shield. And then we have that little let's see, we have that scene where he gets her down on the ground, and he wants to cut her neck with the shield, right? But she pushes herself up between two rocks to stop it. And then she right after that grabs his fang, pulls it out of his mouth, which I'm like,
That was
what?
dumb. You don't
I was
just.
like, how loose must that be? She pulled it out like it was nothing,
Yeah, that
right?
was like,
It was like
you
the
know,
most loose thing, the most dainty thing ever. Like, yeah,
mhm.
you could get good grip on it because it is just kind of sticking out there. It's not like a human tooth. It is sticking out there all by itself,
But
but
it came out like a human tooth would.
oh
And
no, it
there's
also
no way that
came
that
out
thing is as
so
frail as
easy.
that. I know.
It came out so easy, like breaking a crayon, right?
Hmm.
But she stabbed him and then got out of the whole shield cutting a head off thing, right? You know, and then they kind of have this
Unfortunately.
they have this standoff, right? Oh, it seems like she's run out of ideas, which she hasn't. The dog it has
Oh.
the axe. The dog retrieves the axe to her, to which she stabs him in the leg and then uses the rope to kind of like choke him, I guess, a little bit, tie his head around.
They
And
did do
then,
that, but still.
yeah, then she jumps off of him, pulls the rope, which pulls him downward into the mud pit. Now, this part of the rope was useful. The tying the rope around his neck to push him over, that was useful. But technically the rope never needed an axe at the end of
Yeah,
it.
exactly. That's like you can't argue that there needed to be an axe with a rope attached at
Right.
any point in the movie,
Right.
except
Rope,
for
yes. Axe, yes. Rope and axe together?
yeah, no,
One scene,
mm-mm.
right? Yeah. And now again, the pacing of this fight scene I'll say is good. Even though there's some bull crap, I like how it goes back and forth. She's winning, he's winning, she's winning, he's winning. This is literally how you're supposed to write a fight scene. It's perfect, right? That's good fight scene writing. And then he rises from the mud. Now it seems like everything's gone bad again and that she's losing, right? But then it all changes when he points his little, I forget what it's called. I don't think it has a name. His basically spear shooter, the closest thing to a crossbow, I guess he has. Shoots the
Oh
bolts out,
yeah,
but the helmet is pointed at his head because she set that up at the beginning.
this was
And,
dumb
and I want to hear what you say, but it goes around and then it blows his head up basically. Why do you think it's dumb?
because he's obviously gonna know that his own weapon, this arrow, is going to wherever the lasers are pointing. So if he doesn't know where the lasers are pointing, why would he use it? Because
I know, right?
so it's just
Yeah,
like
because
it's like,
even if
come
she
on,
didn't
man.
take it, even if she didn't take it for her plan,
I
right?
know
He still doesn't know where it's pointing, and it very well likely couldn't have hit her and just flown off somewhere
it
else.
wasn't going to hit her because the lasers went on her.
Exactly,
It was totally dumb. Like the only case scenario is it goes and it lands at some random place and he can't ever use it again, or it hits him like on the back of the head like it did. It's just so dumb.
Exactly.
Like I'm like, really, dude? Come on, you're better than this.
At all. Like, stop using your technology as a crutch, dude. Right? You're supposed to be smart, aren't you?
Well, it was also it was not good. Not good.
That's
It was
why you
dumb.
shouldn't. This is why you shouldn't use aim assist.
Exactly, because it's
Yep.
gonna backfire.
Yep. Literally.
So buy a PC.
You buy a PC now. It's
Buy a
in
PC
this.
or else you'll get stabbed in the head by a massive
Buy,
arrow.
buy a PC in the link that doesn't exist.
Exactly. Yep.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. So then
Didn't like.
that's basically the end of the movie. She comes up to them. She's like, "Yo, I killed this thing," and then they're like, "You're war chief now." Woo! The end.
Oh, how convenient.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And so you talked earlier about how this ending really didn't feel fulfilling to you compared to how the beginning seemed to build up.
So
Now I want to know how, like, what was the issue here?
so we start off the movie, and she really wants to be a hunter, but nobody thinks that she can or should be a hunter, right? And instead,
Right.
we find out she is like really good at like medicine and planning out hunts, just not really executing them.
Yeah. She's also good at inventing things, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So this is kind of a whole big thing, but this movie's biggest weakness is that it's a Predator movie.
Oof.
If this movie was about her fighting, trying to hunt that mountain lion or like a bear or something,
Yeah.
and it was her being like, no, I'm gonna prove everyone wrong and become a hunter. And then over the course of the movie, we have like a self discovery arc, and she realizes that the best way that she can help her tribe out is by like being even better at medicines and making tools and planning hunts than she is
Mhm.
at that just being able to shoot an arrow in the right spot. And then being like, oh yes, this is the way I'm gonna help everyone out. This is what I'm gonna do. It would have been so much better,
That is pretty good, but also no one would have watched the movie.
but it would have been a good movie.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but that's
But
why
I do think that in a way, I don't think your movie pitch is perfect. I think you have really great character depth
it's
and
much
character arc
better than
there,
whatever the heck
but
this movie was.
plot lacking, I feel like. You know?
Well, no, because the plot is about her discovering that, you know, sometimes what you want isn't what you need. Wow, it's almost
I feel
like
like
that's what
there needs to
characters
be
are.
a hint of
Incredible.
fiction here. Not that your movie or story can't have fiction. Your movie and story can be based off of just completely real things. You know, a lot of romances do that. But let's be real, movies with fiction such as fantasy, sci-fi, etc., do a lot better.
Doesn't mean it's better though.
So I know, but maybe not the predator, but the whatever the monster should be shouldn't just be a bear. It should be something cool. Just saying.
I guess it could have been,
It
but
could have been. It would the movie would sell more tickets, that's for sure. Right? Or in this case, just get more views on Hulu.
that's
Um,
true. But yeah, it was. I didn't like that she wanted to be a hunter, and she had all these other skills that are arguably much more valuable than being a hunter. But
yeah,
instead, she got to be a hunter, and then was the war chief, and
especially
it was
because
like
especially
really like you promised us this really good story,
yeah,
and then you
especially because
just did something else, and it was so frustrating to watch. This
mhm.
was honestly one of the least satisfying movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I actually didn't really think of that as much to begin with, but I'm glad you mentioned it because that's a very good point. And also, I want to say you said that the medicine and stuff was like more important than the hunting. I was gonna say especially because it seems like every male in the tribe hunts, and the only thing that the movie told
That's the
us
only
is that
reason.
the only people that know anything about medical is her and her mom.
That's the only reason that because I also
That's
understand this because they're not about to do a movie where a girl wants to be a hunter, but then lets all the men be hunters, and then she does medicines and stuff, which is basically cooking. And I get that.
oh,
I get that they weren't gonna take that route, but like, just make the protagonist like a dude. Like, it's
then make it a dude instead.
like
Yeah.
it still doesn't like we're really gonna let gender affect this. That's much like like it still would have been much better. So
Yeah, I do agree overall it would have been better. Um, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the Predator as a concept,
oh,
you know.
I
I think I was more of a fan of the Predator as a concept before watching any of the Predator movies.
I really didn't like the Predator as a concept. Mostly
Hmm.
just of my personal opinions, because
Yeah. Well,
it wants to be a monster movie, but the action scenes are Marvel movie action scenes, and I hate it because
yeah.
I want the not fighting something like you traditionally like you're fighting for survival like in traditional monster movies are, but instead they they take the Marvel movie, and this is actually something I wrote down when I was watching the end climax fight. I literally go, this is literally a Marvel movie in disguise, at least in terms of the action scenes. And I didn't like it. Like, it's not bad, like, objectively. It's just personally, I wanted a monster movie, and it didn't give it to me, and now I'm salty.
Yeah. Yeah. A good way to say that is You were saying Marvel, but I think there's a good phrase we could use. Is it was a good versus bad scene, a good versus the bad scene versus a good versus the ugly, right? Good versus ugly, that's horror, right? Usually because the good's running away from the ugly monster. But it was just good versus bad, like hero versus villain, you know. And usually the hero doesn't run away, and they're more on even ground,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. But I will say I personally like this more than Predator 1987. Because even though you would probably like the fact that it's more of a thriller, there are less, as you say, Marvel action scenes, as you said, in it. The fact there are hardly any, and it's mostly just him being this silent killer that's invisible and slowly killing off everyone one by one. So maybe you would
Hmm.
like that aspect, but that movie had no characters.
This
They
movie
were just,
didn't have any
they were just.
characters in it.
No, this was worse. Legit,
Not
like this
possible.
movie. It is. It is. This movie actually has something resembling to a character arc, a very bad one, but it's trying. The other movie didn't even try. They had
This
nothing.
character, she doesn't have much of a character arc either.
I swear to you, her and Tabe were so much better than all the characters in the 1987 movie.
I really find that hard to believe, but
You can
okay.
watch it. The characters in the 1987 movie did have personality, some of them did, but they had no motivations, no goals, no character arcs, nothing. They were
Hmm.
just there. They were just plot devices. Like if I were to use percentages to show how much plot versus character they have, Predator 1987 is 100% plot, 0% character. This at least has maybe 1 or 2% character, you know? And
Hmm.
and regardless of what you say, because 0 is literally nothing, 1 is so much bigger than 0.
Okay, man. I don't know. It's very hard for me to comprehend a movie that somehow has less interesting characters and less interesting character
It
arcs than this. Because all
does.
she does like she has no personality. In Prey, she has no personality, and her character arc is she wanted something, and then she gets it by the end, which
Mhm.
is so unsatisfying. It's like she
Yeah, I
doesn't
know,
learn
but
anything. She doesn't grow in skill at all. She just
but at least
gets what she
at
wants
least
now.
at least she had a goal that she wanted. She had a goal that wasn't survive, you know?
That's true.
Which that was the only goal of all the characters in the Predator movie. It was just we're just trying to live. And I was
That's
like, well,
fair.
that yeah, that's the goal of everyone on the planet. You know, she had a separate goal. I want to be a hunter and prove myself. Okay, you know, there's nothing else to it, but there's no meat on the bone, but at least there's a bone, right?
Okay.
I did not like Predator 1987. It was one of those movies that they're like kind of it's fun to watch, and it's one of those movies you can just watch and turn off your brain. But if you think about it at all and try to analyze the characters whatsoever, you realize how bad of a movie it is. It's just one of those movies you have running on in the background for action and fun visuals, you
At
know?
least this one had at least action and fun visuals.
Yeah, yeah. So I think this movie's slightly better than the Predator 1987. And I will say
Alright.
you definitely changed my final rating on it. I didn't really have a permanent one. I haven't written down a rating, but
Ooh.
but I because I wasn't gonna write one down until I heard you because I wanted to hear what you had to say first before I made a decision. I will say you have changed my rating a little bit.
I'm
So,
gonna
but
take that
first,
as a compliment.
right, right. I think you're more sure about your rating than I am.
Yep.
So why don't you go first and you tell me what you rate
I
this movie?
give Prey a 3 out of 10. Probably,
In
honestly,
my
probably the most unsatisfying movie I've ever seen.
initially, I was gonna give this a 5, and 5 is where I list things that are just pretty neutral. You know, it wasn't nothing great about it, but there wasn't really anything good
Yeah.
about it either. It's a movie that I can watch and have not too much against it. It's overall neutral, but after hearing some of the things you said, these characters are definitely of lesser quality than I initially thought. I think my issue was that I watched Predator 1987, and then when I saw an improvement in Prey, I thought it was wonderful. Right?
Hmm.
So I think comparison is actually what made me think this movie was better than it was. But I'm gonna give it a 4.
Oh, four. So last night, after I finished watching the movie, I actually was gonna give it a 5 out of 10.
Oh, really?
But then I thought about it and I was like, oh wait, yeah, this movie's terrible.
Yep, yep, yep. I was gonna give it a higher rating after I watched it too. I was gonna give it like a 7. And then I thought about it, and then I watched it again, and then so it went down to 6. Then when I watched it again, I brought it down to 5, and then after talking to you, it's a 4.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So I guess
Um,
a 3.5 out of 10.
a 3.5 out of 10. That's a little over 1/3 on the Final Cut Productions scale.
So
Kind of
not a good
slacking, not gonna
movie.
lie.
Not a good.
A very good movie. If you're the kind of person that's not really nitpicky about, characters and stuff, and you just want to see the Predator be cool, or you just want to see some Native American underdogs go against this impossible odd of a unstoppable monster, which isn't unstoppable apparently.
Yeah.
If you just want to see that, you'll love this movie, right? If you're more nitpicky about your movies like me and Mayo, maybe it's worth skipping, especially if you don't already have Hulu.
Yeah. Don't get Hulu for this.
Yeah. Again, unless you're a huge Predator fanatic and you just love it regardless, then I'd say
Yeah.
watch it. But
Yeah.
yep. Well,
Yeah.
thank you
All
guys
right.
for watching. We had a great time talking about this movie, regardless of the fact that we didn't like it very much.
That was
Again,
fun. Yeah.
please, yeah, again, please check out the previous video, the Batman, and we'll make sure to get you a next video, another video next week.
All right. Adios, boys.